Where do estate and letting agency bosses go wrong managing and leading their teams? Today I'm joined by Carrie Allison, who is Lettings Director and El Supremo for Hunters, the estate and letting agency chain. I believe you run 4 of the owned branches and responsible for lettings for the whole network, over 100 branches. Carrie, where do estate and letting agency bosses go wrong managing and leading their teams? Talk to me.
I think sometimes we forget, and I include myself, I'm not perfect, I include myself in these things as well. We forget that we used to do that job. And sometimes we forget actually how much fun it was, as well as hard work. And I think that sometimes we forget that it is tough and there's so much to do and you're juggling everything. You've got all the different sides of the customers, you've got landlords, you've got the tenants, and if you work in maintenance, you've got contractors. You're trying to juggle all of that. So sometimes when you're looking at KPIs or targets or what's this, got to do this, got to do that, that's all brilliant and we need to do that. But sometimes you forget all those bits, just getting a toilet fixed or dealing with inquiries, just how long that sort of stuff can take. And it's hard work. And I know I do it sometimes with my managers. I sometimes like, oh, I haven't had the figures yet. And when are you going to send me this report? Forgetting that they've had 60 leads in, the phone hasn't stopped ringing. So I think sometimes we should take a step back, be with the staff and understand and appreciate what it is they're going through and remember that we've been through it as well.
Interesting you're talking there with your remote hat on. So let's look at the best ways that people watching this can benefit from your wisdom. Let's do remote managers first. That's area managers. You know, you run 4 owned branches yourself, and also you're responsible for over 100 franchised offices with regard to their legal work as well. What top tips would you give to someone who's a remote manager?
Pick your timings. So don't be on people or asking for this, that and the third thing on a Monday morning at 9:30, because they're going to call you some names behind your back. So I think it's just being mindful of other people. I think it's also about planning ahead. So make sure that your teams know well in advance and on a regular basis when you need certain things. Don't just spring it on them. And also be understanding that if I need something on Thursday at 4 p.m, if my manager, who might be the valuer, is about to go out on an amazing market appraisal, just back off, because their market appraisal is super important.
Okay, that's managing remote teams. What about top tips for actually leading them? You know, that's really hard. You know, when you're on the front line with your team, your branch manager, which I know you've done in the past, it's a little bit easier. What top tips? I mean, where did you go wrong when you went to remote management, and how did you fix them?
Well, I went wrong, I think, really, where you forget what people are doing in the branch. So you're sitting in your little office and you're forgetting what's going on outside. So I don't do that anymore. I sit in the branch and as on front desk as I can be. I've got some of my owned branches won't let me answer the phone because they're worried about how what I might sound like. I did have one call once, which was hilarious, when a tenant told me what the tenancy agreement said and that I was incorrect, bearing in mind that I helped write the tenancy agreement. So the girls in the office, they could hear me and they were like, oh no, please don't, please don't. So I think it's being in there, and it's being present. It's about being there and understanding and knowing what's going on, and then taking that appreciation and coordinating things. Like I said, having regular meetings but planned so that they know, and you're not just dumping something on or surprising someone with something.
So how often would you as an area boss be at your managed branches? Once a month?
Every day. So there's 4. So it depends on what's going on. So tomorrow I'm in Harrogate. On Wednesday I'm in Manchester. So there's 2 of them.
Okay.
After Easter I'll be in York. So I plan where I'm going to be depending on what's going on, who needs to see me, where if I haven't been there for a couple of weeks, like I've not been to York for a couple of weeks, so I definitely need to be there.
A couple of weeks.
It's just been crazy.
There's area managers out there that probably haven't been to their branch for 6 weeks, 2 months.
Oh wow, no, I got told off last week. The girls said, "Oh, you haven't seen us for ages." They actually want to see me, which is nice.
And when you're in there, you can't obviously always be at the front line all the time. Do you go out and have a chat with the valuer or the manager? And
Yep. So I sit in with them. We have catch ups.
what about talking to the negs?
Yeah,
Do you have one-to-one with the negs?
I don't have one-to-ones with them because I don't want to overshoot myself with the managers.
Okay.
But I talk to them because I've worked at Hunters for so long.
So when you say talk to them, you won't take them upstairs for a coffee, but you will have a chat with them on a one-to-one at the desk.
Absolutely. Because also I make sure I know what's going on. I know how many lets are in the pipeline and I know what new instructions are coming through. So, but I go and talk to them about it. I will pick, because you use a CRM, I can see what's going on. So I know that this MA happened last week. So I'll go and speak to one of the girls and ask them to tell me how it went. You know, what was it
So you
like?
just go up to them and say, "Tell me how 4 Acacia Avenue went," and they'll go,
Yeah, or
"Bloody hell."
yeah, or I hear you did a great valuation the other day, or I hear this let's going through. In our York office and Harrogate, actually in Manchester and Leeds, we've got a bell, even for lettings. I know it's more of a sales thing. We've got a bell that dings when we've got a really good let, and we also ding it when we do a bond release, because that's, you know, we know that everyone's happy. I've also bought them a plastic, it's really disgusting, plastic crown from Poundland. So if something amazing's happened or they've gone over and above, they have to wear the crown. They don't want to wear the crown because it's uncomfortable, but they wear it. And it's just about making it fun because I make sure I know what's going on.
I must admit, I've had some area managers in the past, and when the area manager, I think I can remember once that my area manager sat down with me. But if you're talking to them, you're going there every couple of weeks and sitting down with most of the team, then you get a lot more from them, do you?
I think I do. I like to hope I do. Yeah, because also I use Teams a lot because I'm not like I haven't been in York for a couple of weeks, but I've got my Teams chat with all of those people, and so I'm always asking, "How's it going? What's going on? Tell me good. Tell me bad. Tell me something weird that's happened this week." Um, we've also got a group's Teams chat for all the group branches, including the negotiators, property managers. So that's like a place where they can ask each other questions, they can ask other managers questions, or they can just tell us something amazing that's happened or weird. You know, we always get the weird things.
It's interesting that you've got negs asking other managers. Do they just like put, "I've got this problem"? Surely that puts the nose out of the manager and their manager, doesn't it? Or
No,
does it come down to mindset that we're all in it together?
it's a team, absolutely. And their manager might be out on evaluation. So, and it's about I want people to collaborate and to talk to each other. So with Leeds and Manchester office, it's predominantly city centre apartments. And with Harrogate and York, it's obviously a mixture. So the experiences and the knowledge that the guys in York or Harrogate may have slightly different to city rentals. So it's just about what's worked for you. And they always ask it in such a way, has this ever happened to any of you? And that's how they collaborate.
Fantastic. I know we're going to do a separate video on collaboration in a minute. What top tips would you give to actually branch-based branch managers? More the same?
It is more of the same. It's about, it's about talking to each other. I think a morning meeting is it's so important. Even if it's 10 minutes or an hour, depending on what's going on in your branch. It's about knowing. I've been in branches, some of our own, where they've had a terrible morning meeting, and then 2 hours later, someone's looking for some keys, they're out with that contractor, or this is happening, or that's going to happen. And if they'd have talked about it in the morning meeting, it wouldn't have escalated. And also, there's all the little things. We need to know what's going on in the market. We need to know what's let. There's no point not knowing.
So morning meetings, I find there is a direct correlation between managers doing monthly at one-to-ones and success. Why do you think many people do one-to-ones?
Because we think we're so busy. And instead of, so it's the age-old thing of, if you do take that 20 minutes, it can actually save you 2 hours. I know that Charlotte, who runs our York lettings business, she is so strict with her weekly one-to-ones.
Weekly one-to-ones.
Yeah. They're not long necessarily, but it's looking at what's going on, what do they need, how are they managing their workload, to make sure you've got that connection in your team every day, because you all sit together, but it's having that 10 minutes.
Because then the person's being listened to. I mean, I'm one of my best bosses that I ever had would always say, if I didn't hit the targets, is what do you need from me to help you hit your target? Not why the hell have you not hit your fucking target?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's quite simple, isn't it? This game of leading and managing.
I think it is, actually. It is, but sometimes we get so busy being busy,
yes,
that we forget it's simple.
Carrie, that's been absolutely inspirational. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.